Hello, 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 hello. I told you so. I told you so. I said it from week one of the Premier League season that Chelsea would finish between 66 and 72 points and they would come fourth in the league and make the Champions League. And I said it from the beginning and I was right. I beg somebody goes back who has more time on their hands than me and finds every single instance of me on the podcast and me on post match streams going through the spreadsheets and going through the odds and going through the modeling and saying, yep, I think this is where Chelsea are going to end up. And Chelsea won. They come fourth. They didn't even need to win. They could have tied and they would have come fifth. Actually, they would have come fifth if they drew. Nope, they still would have come fourth if they drew. I told you from the beginning. Pano Footy, breaking news, advanced metrics proven right on Forest. Forest were not a good team. They were plus 12 on a negative expected goal difference. I bet you a significant amount of money Forest do not win the Conference League. I don't even think they'll be close. I told you from the beginning. And Newcastle had a hot run towards the end. Villa had a hot run towards the end. Doesn't matter. Chelsea have been one of the four best teams the whole season. The whole season. Not close. The whole season. It has been these four teams and then Villa and Newcastle, Bournemouth as like their own thing. And that's the whole season. And I told you from the beginning. And it's not me. It's the math. The math is very clear. The math is right. Somebody find that guy. Does anybody remember the guy that I banned? Because he's like, Chelsea, you're gonna do it. And then he commented on a video later. I'm gonna find that guy. And I'm gonna just permaban him. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty funny that we didn't play very well. Just scored the one of the two real chances we created and then sat on it. That I think is pretty funny. But we did it. And Newcastle did it, sort of, and Villa did not do it, which is funny. But this is what it was always going to be. It was always going to be exactly this way. So he came to the last stream, I think. Yeah, he probably did. And he was wrong. He was wrong again. Double wrong. Imagine being so confidently wrong about anything in your life. So I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was pretty funny. Jadon Sancho ready to learn Manchester United, buddy. Yeah, Jadon Sancho is not coming back to Chelsea. That is definitely not going to be a thing that happens. Fuzzbrain, you called it Kier. Absolutely. Tamix, so happy Forest aren't in Champions League. I don't really care. If there was a scenario where both of us could have gotten in and Villa and Newcastle were out, I would have done that because I think Forest are not actually good and it would ruin them next season. Whereas Villa and Newcastle having Champions League money is beneficial to them. I think Villa are so screwed financially after this, even after selling Duran. So, but maybe not after selling Duran and after selling Martinez, which, by the way, Martinez getting red card and costing them Champions League, truly hilarious. Tuchel, I hope you saw this Tosin game. I mean, I'm sure he saw it, and I don't think it's going to change anything because I don't think he was very good. I don't think he's very good. Jordan, it's time to talk to Daddy again. I don't get that reference, but apparently in the away end, the Chelsea players are all celebrating with the fans still, and they're delaying the Forest lap of appreciation, which is truly funny. But you know what? It was a pretty good year. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm sad that I wasn't there. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, I tore my ACL almost a month ago now. Oh, Jordan Kit deal. Yeah, Jordan Kit deal is fun. Yeah, I tore my ACL a month ago, and I'm having surgery next week, so I had to cancel all my trips. Sucks. Supposed to be there for today and at the Conference League final. No dice on those. Honestly, probably better for my heart to not be there. But yeah, like it was a solid. You know, what was nice is like I've been wondering all season when we were gonna have uh like when the teams are gonna turn up in a big game, and like I don't think Chelsea were very good today, but I do think that they were mature. Like the first half was a lot of defending, and but they really didn't give up anything. And until the Wood chance right at the end, they don't really give up anything. Like it was pretty solid. It was pretty. They defended transitions well. I thought. I thought they didn't take a lot of dumb risks. Like it was pretty good. Garnacho over Sancho easily. Yeah, I would actually like fold Sancho's return into a Garnacho deal if you want to buy a winger. Like that's how I would do it. Um, we've been so defensively solid for a while now. Yeah, like if you look at like the XG and stuff, like it's a pretty significant decline. Like it's a third of an expected goal a game. I think it's like an 11. It's a I think at the start of today, non-penalty, it was 13 expected goals better than last year, which is huge, 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 huge. Um, yeah, like that I think is a real, and this Tamexo is asking successful season for Maresca. Like the team is like undeniably better than last year. Like there is not a metric you can come up with. There's like you can't say points, you can't say goal difference. Like you can say okay, they scored fewer goals, sure, but like whatever. The non-penalty attack is about the same. Uh, and like part of the difference is that Chelsea were losing much more frequently last year, so they got to attack in minus game states all the time. Whereas Chelsea have won much more frequently this year and have had to defend plus game states, and so you end up with, and Chelsea very much have been a team this year that in plus game states have dropped their lines and defended deeper, conceded possession. Like stylistically, Chelsea have been very game statey this year. But yeah, like 13 goal improvement defensively. I think Chelsea conceded like 60 something goals last year. They concede 43 this year. They're the tied third best. I think they're the tied third best defense in the league. Yeah, 43. So like Liverpool and Arsenal are better, and then it's them. Nope, best on their own because City conceded. So Chelsea are the third best defense in the league, which is pretty nice. Again, 64 goals is probably not enough. You definitely need to get above 70, but like it's a good start. So to me, when I look at that, like I think, yeah, undeniably the team is better than last year. Even you look at the other stuff, like you're talking 6 shots per game better. That's like a half. That there are. It's not as big a swing as the shot volume because there is Chelsea's shot quality is lower this year, and their shot quality against is higher. But like 6 shots a game, if their average shots is a 0.6 xg difference, like that's huge. Like if you start every game up 0.6 xg, like your win probability is massive. And then the box touch stuff, like an 11 box touch swing, like these are huge benefits to a team. So like, do I think it's a successful year for Maresca? I think he has met the goals of the team, which was qualify for Champions League and let's see if on Wednesday they win, but or on Wednesday they win Conference League. That's my that's where I have it. So we'll see on that one. Onana versus Sanchez. I would take Sanchez at this point. I think Onana has dropped off pretty significantly. I thought Sanchez was very good today, man. And this is you want to talk about like criticizing Bob Sanchez like for his many flaws. The dude is lights out on high balls. He comes and claims so many 5 high claims today. So many claims on just like long throw, corner, deep free kick, deep cross. Like he was so good, man. He was so good today. And he had a really good like back half of the season. And people are gonna look and be like 9 of 30, like he just kicks the ball out of play all the time, blah 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 blah. Like when he's kicking long, it's not like he's like ignoring short options to kick long. It's like they pass back to him and he's getting pressed and he just clears it. Which is like what you were explicitly yelling at him to do the first half of the season. Like I think Sanchez had a totally fine year. Hadn't had a big blunder in a while. Thought for sure today was the day that changes. Glad to be wrong. Yeah, I thought so. His long ball kicking is getting worse somehow. I don't know. I don't even think it's getting worse. I think he's just like, I think the team got worse in terms of playing long, but for sure. Enzo Fernandez, 70% pass completion, still playing with one eye, bring Santos. Yeah, I thought Enzo Fernandez had a really bad day. I thought he was very poor today. Like, credit to him that he, like, works and graphs and, like tried hard and, like, ran a lot, but I don't think he was very good. Ideal 9 in left wing summer signings. We could talk about that later. How does Maresca improve the away form next season? Is it more about squad maturity? I think a lot of the like home versus away splits is just random noise. Like the first, if you look at over the course of, like, people are splitting it down to like, oh, if you look since Christmas, their away form is brutal. That's because they played all the good teams away from home in the second half of the year. The only hard away game they played in the first half of the year was Liverpool. But like City, they played at home. Arsenal, they played at home. Newcastle, they played at home. All the tough games they played at home the first half of the season, and then they had to play away the second half, which is part of it. Weren't we the second best team on away first half of the season? That's exactly it. So like the season comes out and Chelsea are like, I don't know, upper mid table. So that was right. Colwell crazy comeback last 8-9 games of the season. Colwell was sick. Colwell was really good down the stretch. I'm very happy for him. He was awesome. He was awesome. Billy G, let's go Statman. Yeah, I call me the Statman. I tweeted it, bro. Everybody was wrong. I was right. Also, I'm counting that as a set piece goal for Bernardo Cueva because he's sick. But yeah, I thought that was a very good down the stretch performance from Levi Colwell. I thought he was great. I really do. Not that we need to continually rehash the debate, but how much of the improvement is due to Maresca versus the team having another year of development together? No, 100%. And that's why I say very specifically, the team is better. I don't think a huge amount of it is Maresca, right? Like, I think some of it is, I think some of it is the stylistic change. Like, Chelsea are not a great transition defending team. I think they are not. I think they are not like they don't have incredible like box movement. Like, I don't think this team is perfect. And I think like playing somewhat slower, lower event games is beneficial for this team because like there are a lot of like good passers who are athletically limited in this team. Like Enzo Fernandez is not a great athlete, but he's a very good passer. Levi Colwell, not a great athlete, but he is a great passer. Trev Chalobah, not a great athlete, but is a great passer. Reece James is like limited athletically at this point, but he is a great passer. So I think like stylistically that's a benefit. At the same time, like this is why I said at the beginning of the season, I think Chelsea will end up being something like 66 to 72 points because you have Chelsea ran basically the same team back, but the only difference is like you had Sancho and Neto, Nani played more, and you play Tosin instead of Thiago Silva. Like, otherwise, it's not really that different. And, like, Palmer plays mid. It's really not that different a team. So you already start in a pretty similar place. And then if you look at last year, Chelsea were +6 on penalties last year. They were -1 on penalties this year. So you have like some negative downswing there, which is real. But also Chelsea's goalkeepers played horrible last year, and it was very unlikely for it to be that bad again. So you get some boost back. Then you have the fact that Maresca has done this. I think is one of the biggest positives for him. Maresca has done an exceptional job of keeping guys on the field. Like Fofana played more than last year. Okay, I'm not going to hold that one against Pochettino. It's like a freak injury that happens in preseason. Reece James plays way more than last year. Caicedo Caicedo played 38 Premier League games this year. Like he played every single game. No injuries for him. Enzo Fernandez doesn't pick up a hernia. Romeo Lavia plays more than last year. Like all these guys, we had very few. You had like Palmer do a hamstring for like 2 weeks. You had Madueke miss like 6 weeks. You had Jackson miss like 6 weeks. But aside from those, Dylan Payne's here. What a legend. Except for those like little ones, everybody was much more available. And if you look at the minutes total, Chelsea had 23 players play more than 1,000 minutes this year. Last year it was 17. So they had more players play over 1,000 minutes, which is great. But they also had 0 players play more than 75% of the minutes. Last year there were 6 or 5. So like being able to like, you don't push anyone super, super deep, right? Nobody goes super deep into the red zone. But you also have like a bunch of guys getting enough minutes that they're not fuming. Like it's not bad. It's really not bad. So when I say like how much of it is down to Maresca, I think like not much, but it's like basically the same. But I think that's fine. I think that's acceptable. My thoughts on Palmer's form in the Athletics video about how he scores in chaos is Maresca shackling him to a degree. You know, I think on Palmer, like if we look at Palmer's season, it's not that different from last year. Kind of at the end of it all, it's not that different from last year. So it feels like, oh my God, he's had a terrible year. But it's like when you take out the fact that he got a whole bunch more penalties last year, it's really not that different a season overall, mostly because he was so good the first half of the season. I think the big thing with Palmer was like mostly fatigue. I think he really fell off a cliff after the Christmas period. And like, think about it. It's his second pro season. He played a ton last year. Then he goes to the Euros, plays at the Euros, comes straight back into the next season, which is another huge season, plays another almost every game. Like that's a big physical adjustment for someone not used to that minutes load. Like to me, I would have loved to not have the Club World Cup this summer. I would have loved to just be like, go sit on the beach and do nothing for 2 months. Because I think some of these guys need a pretty big refresh, and he is the biggest candidate of that. I think there's something there about like he thrives in chaotic situations, but I don't think that means he can't thrive in structure, right? Like he is the guy who has the freedom to break structure and do his thing. He is the guy who has the freedom to do that. I don't think he is really shackled at all. I think he has certainly reduced his risk profile a little bit. Like his turnovers are down from 12 to 9. And his XA is down accordingly. But I think there's some value in that, like for the team. You know what I mean? So that I thought was pretty good. What else we got? Will I make a video on squad building? I don't know, maybe. I haven't thought about it. Probably though. Any thoughts on Tosin over Chalobah? I assume that was to deal with direct balls to Wood, which is what he ended against United. It was like attacking set pieces, but I thought it mostly worked. I don't think you would have had an issue if Chalobah played, but it mostly worked. Champions League nights at the Bridge again. Get me them needle movers in the summer. Make the squad truly competitive. Yeah, definitely. Are we confident Chelsea offload the bomb squad? Yeah, like this. I guess we can just like, let's just whatever. Let's just talk about it. So this is a squad from this season. The season is not done. Okay. Cassidy is gone already. Bettinelli, I think you don't need to bring back, but also like who cares? Amugu is going to go out on loan, so like that's trimmed. I think Guiu actually had like a pretty nice year. Like I'm pretty happy with the progress that he made. I think it's going to be difficult for him to get serious minutes here next year. Especially if you buy a 9, probably looking to loan him. Mudryk, I assume, is perma-banned. I don't really know what's going on there. I just assume he's banned. We don't know anything yet. But, like, if he's banned, okay. Vega, I expect to be sold because I think they'll make a tidy profit on him this summer. George and Achimpong, I think, are the biggest questions of what do you do with them because they both have to play a lot next year. Like, so Tyreek George played a little bit over 1,000 minutes. Josh Achimpong played like 8,000. I expect both of them will play the final. I think Maresca is actually going to play some of the guys who got there for the final. But so they've played about 1,000 minutes this year. Like they need to play 2,000 minutes next year. And that I think is going to be really difficult to do, to get them 2,000 minutes without Conference League. And if it's going to be difficult to get them 2,000 minutes without Conference League, they need loans, and they need good loans. Do I know why it takes so long to check if a B sample would be positive for Mudryk, and do we still have to pay his amortization? So my understanding is that the B sample like should have been tested immediately. Like it is almost certainly the case that they know the result of the B sample. And because it's not negative, like I assume that there has been just like legal jockeying in private about what the ban is going to be. And it's not like Pogba's case, we got all the updates because Pogba would just tell Fabrizio Romano, right? And he'd be like, oh, I don't know what the ban is. And like, it's 3 years, but now it's going to be 18 months and blah, 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 blah. I assume Mudryk's camp is just not saying anything about it and that we know that he's banned. In terms of what that ban looks like, it's probably going to be 3 years, but they will count this year as one of them. And maybe he like pleads it down. Like the rumor is that he had an injection when he was with Ukraine on international duty, or he took a supplement or a painkiller, something that was tainted with meldonium. He's saying it's not my fault. He took a polygraph. The Shakhtar CEO said he's like innocent, but he also said like we want our add-ons for him playing, right? Which is a big part of that. So I think if you look at that, I think there's like no chance Madrid plays. On payment, his amortization still counts. You can do what is called like writing down his value. So like because Chelsea made a big profit last year with the sale of the women's team and all that stuff, they could in theory decide, hey, Mudryk's value is impaired because of the ban, and they can say, actually, instead of amortizing over the life of the contract, we're actually going to write down a whole bunch of his value now. Like that is what they did during COVID with a number of contracts during COVID, to be like, because they were getting allowances to do so, because they were like, oh yeah, we lost this much of Lukaku and Rudiger and whoever, so they can do that. So yeah, that's Mudryk, and then yeah, the loans to the other guys. Dewsbury Hall, I think you have to shift, and I think you'll be able to shift him for maybe not what you paid, but I think you'll be able to get a little bit. Also, a very funny thing that you guys will not notice, but you will laugh at, is that when I put the progress bar, I sized it for only 2-digit viewer numbers, and now we got 3-digit viewer numbers. So I have to make it smaller so you can see all the numbers now. So that's pretty funny. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty funny. So I think Dewsbury Hall, I think you'll be able to move him. I think if you, let me just go to transfer market. Transfer market. There is a wage cut to like 50K per year on a band. I don't know anything about that. Um, I don't know anything about that, but like I could believe it. So yeah, you look at Dewsbury Hall. His transfer market value is 22 million. Chelsea paid something, I think like 35 for him. Yeah, 35 million euros. Like, do I think you could get 27 back for him? Yeah, probably. Like to West Ham or Brighton, something like that. I think you could probably do it. Um, I think Dewsbury Hall for Palmer late sub was underutilized. I think Dewsbury Hall could have played more than he did. I don't think he had a bad. I don't think he had a. I don't think he's a terrible player. I don't think he's good, but I don't think he's a terrible player. Um, but that's that one. But I think he's movable. I think Badiashile is easily movable if you chose to. I would not. I think he's good, and I think like it's useful to have that sort of left-footed player behind Colwill like as a rotation option all the time. Felix, I think, is unmovable. Like I think that's a pretty brutal one. But also, I don't think he was like terrible when he played this season. So like if you're stuck with him, I think you could do worse. I think Axel Disasi you can move. I think you can probably, if Villa had made Champions League, I would say you could probably shift him to Villa. Now I wonder if you could move him to Newcastle. But I think you can probably move him. I think the goalkeeper carousel of Jorgensen, Sanchez, Petrovic, Penders is going to be really interesting. My guess is that Penders will get a good loan and they will try to sell one of Jorgensen and Petrovic. I don't think Sanchez will be the one that is sold. And Kunku, I think, will be easy to sell. I don't think you'll get your full money back, but I think you'll get a decent fee. Lavia, you don't want to move. I don't think they'll end up moving Trev. I think they'll keep him as a squad player. James is fine. Fafana, you won't move. I don't think they'll end up choosing to move Tosin, but I probably would. He's been useful, but I would probably sell him because I think you can make a little profit, and I don't think he's great. Sancho, I think, goes back. Gusto stays, Neto stays, all these guys stay. And so then you end up with like Raheem Sterling's coming back from loan. Like if you look at, if I go look at their loans from this season on the outs, like who's on loan? Like this ass is coming back. What do you do with that? Carney, I think you probably sell this year. Chilwell, I think, is a tough one. Like, does he come back as a left back? Maybe. Bro, yeah, I think they'll sell for like a really, really, really cut price fee. I think Sterling, you're stuck. I think Ugochukwu, you probably don't want to sell. I think Fafana will go. I think Dave Washington will go. Like it's just a weird, like there's just a lot of bodies to move. So like, do I think we can move them all? Yes. Not all of them, but I think you can move a good chunk of them. Do I think Santos can replace Fernandez? I don't know why people have gotten into this thing of like Andre Santos is going to replace him. I don't think Enzo Fernandez is going anywhere. Like I think for Chelsea, I think he's good, and I think for Chelsea to move him, it would cost a lot of money. Like I think they would have to sell him for a huge fee to get that. Felix loan will happen. Maybe Chelsea are going to run tight on loan spots as well. Excuse me. Felix to Saudi? Yeah, we wish. We wish. We wish. Betty Sheila's a good squad player, but I would want Josh to get minutes. Yeah, that's fair. To me, like the thing I like about Betty Sheila is like he can be left back cover, and you can do like Betty Sheila plays left back to left center back. Colwill plays middle center back, and then your right center back goes to right center back in a 3, and then your right back goes and does whatever. Like to me, like if I open up a tactical board, right? So if I open up just like whatever game, I don't really care what game it is. Like if you imagine a situation where instead of how we've played this year with Palmer as the 10, you do like just pretend Neto is Gusto for me. Like you can start this way where it's like Palmer is the right winger, he comes inside, Gusto is high, and then instead of it being Cucurella, Cole Wilchelo, because like Cucurella's never looked very good when he plays the left of the three, this is Badiashile. Like there's a tremendous amount of value there if you wanted to rotate that way. And then when it's James playing, it's the way it was today, and Cucurella goes and does whatever he wants, right? Like you can totally get there. If a club came in for Fofana, what do you think it would take for us to move him on? 100% wage coverage and like 60 million. I would do it for break even and full wage coverage. I would move on. He's very good, but he's never fit. Does this season vindicate the sporting directors? No, because they did it in spite of the transfers. Neto and Sancho were not largely positive contributors to the team. I don't know. Like, I don't agree. Like, all the guys who were, like, big contributors this year got bought last year or were already here. And, like, you don't get vindicated because Caicedo was good and Enzo Fernandez, $250 million in midfielders were good. To me, like, they almost missed Champions League because they didn't go buy a striker. Like, they almost shot themselves in the foot because they did not buy someone who could play when Jackson is either not playing well or is out. Like, that very nearly cost them the season. Very, very nearly. This is blank. You called Chelsea finishing top 4 for us not making it. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All year I did. I think Neto was solid compared to the other wingers in the final run-in. He was okay. Like, the thing with Neto that you're going to come back to is, like, 4 goals, 5 assists, and, like, he runs hot on the goals, a little cold on the assists in 25-90s is, like, just not that good. Like, you can get that level of output for much less in wages and fee. Like, if that to me you look at and you're like, I don't know. He worked very hard defensively, but I don't know. Sell Gusto, give Josh and Antwi his minutes. I don't think Genesis Antwi is particularly close to being a first-team contributor. But I also said that about Terry George in preseason, that I was like, this guy does not look ready at all. And then he was actually reasonably useful. Yeah, Mark Cucurella, 5 goals. Cucurella had a very nice season. If we sign Olise instead of Neto, we finish second. Yeah, almost certainly, like what's the table? 5 points. 100%. 100% Olise instead of Neto, you come second. Definitely. Like, probably 75 points. Like, he's way. Like, they totally bottled that deal. That to me is like one of the biggest letdowns of the year, is that deal specifically, that they got so wrong. I'm hoping Big George has a surprise for us to move Felix on, Gonzalo, Ramos, anyone. Maybe. I like Ramos more than others. Do I think players like Fofana and Lavia are permanently going to miss half the season, or do you think they can get through it? I think Lavia will be like, he will never play 35 90s a year, but I think you can get him to a place where he's like pretty consistently playing 20 90s for you, and that's useful. Fofana, I think, can be more. The what I've heard about Fofana is that they wanted him to have surgery after he did his hamstring in December. And they wanted him to do similar path to what Reece James had done this year. And Fofana said, no, I don't want to have surgery. I think I can come back. And then he re-injured it. If I didn't jinx us with every game you live stream, Ipswich would have finished second. That is absolutely true. Somebody messaged me saying, Are you going to live stream the game today? I was like, are you crazy? No, we lose every single time. Goldberg says that Shield sold the Chelsea project to Elise once he had the final meeting with the sporting director. She got weird vibes and backed out. That's not what I've heard, but it's not that different from that. What I had heard is that the deal was done, Elise was cool with it, and that Chelsea the sporting directors tried to faff around with the fee and do like, oh, actually, can we do Chaloba and money or Chilwell and money? Maresca, where? Where are the Maresca quotes? Because that guy should absolutely drag his nuts across the stage. This is what it's called, Football London. Yeah, Maresca should absolutely drag his balls across the stage. We are in 4 competitions at the start of the season. Today we finished Champions League. If we're able to win, we can say it's been a very good season. Proud of the achievement, of course. Expensive squad. In the past, I was not here since I joined. We haven't spent more than the rest. We spent money the same as other clubs. We now have players who deserve to be in the Champions League. Where scores elsewhere. They told me when United scored the second. We don't need to watch Aston Villa. We need to do our job and win the game. Yes, agree. I'm not thinking about the summer. We have to be happy today. We prepare for Wednesday's final. I didn't have any doubt. The outside doubt. Blah, 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 blah. How do we say it in English? F off to all of them. Good for you. I like that. Good for him. So I'll tell you now. You can get a little teaser. I gave Maresca a D on speaking to the press because I think his press conferences are boring and I don't think he says anything. Just for that, I'm going to give him a C. I'm going to upgrade him just for that because good for you. But some of you, they said from January we didn't play many games, blah, blah, blah. Yes, good for you. Yes. I like that. That's good for him. Good for him. That's very funny. That is very funny. I like it. Yeah, so what I'd heard was Chelsea tried to like finesse the fee, and then Palace were like, no, Bayern are just going to pay the fee. Go away. How can Madueke get into being a world-class winger? Feels like he has the most potential. I think Madueke is like one of the success stories of the season. He puts up 10 goals and assists. He plays much more than he did last year. He finishes behind his XG and he assists behind his XG. Like, if he had 15 goals and assists, we'd feel way better about his season. I thought Madueke was like real success story for this season. I think he is maybe the player who has benefited the most from playing for Enzo Maresca. Like, I would be really happy with his season that if he just like finished at his level, which he should. His whole career, he's a good finisher. So that I think is really cool. And I like, to me, I just like wouldn't worry about him. I think he's like broadly making progress in the right direction. He is so frustrating. I thought he was dreadful today. So frustrating as a player. But like, you simply don't get these two often. You just don't get like half an expected goal and 4 shots a game from a winger. Like, it's so rare. And he actually tries defensively. Like, those, you just like don't mess with that, to me. Tosin was top class. I think Tosin was good. I don't think he was top class. Wonder how Seb justifies his agendas today. Chat, we don't got to drag down others. Listen, Seb has many opinions about many things. Seb, I think, is an excellent identifier of striker talent. I think he's posting about some players that are really interesting for Chelsea this year, for the summer. And Seb knows a lot about ball. And, like, a tremendous amount of what he says is bait. Like, every time he's like, Chelsea aren't going to beat, they're not going to hit 60 points. Like, the whole season, Seb has been in most of the same place. Like, yeah, Chelsea are probably going to get like 65. He leaned that it wasn't going to be enough. I thought it would be, and it was. But Seb plays a character sometimes. The other thing to be mindful of is, like, a lot of the point that he has made is that, like, Chelsea spent a tremendous amount of money, and, like, the amount they are better, as I said when somebody asked how much of it is down to Maresca and how much is it down to player improvement and blah 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 blah, is he is correct. I think that they spent a tremendous amount of money and did not get that amount of money better, right? Like you spent a lot of money and wages on, like if I go look at the arrivals, they spent a lot of, like, did they, when you look at 110, 140, 160, 180, 200, 230, 250, 250, did they get 250 million better as a team? And like you can say, okay, Giyu's found money. Yeah, like I have no problem with Giyu and Vega. Amugu is rich for me. I don't like the Anselmino fee. I really don't like the Caleb Wiley fee because he was never that good in MLS. But you look at like the first team buys, Dewsbury Hall, Felix, and Neto, like, and Sancho's loan, like those guys are not that good. Like you did not get good value on those deals. And I think that's fair. So Ninja Gecko, FB Ref, number one similar player to Madueke is Garnacho. I love Garnacho. I would totally get Garnacho this summer. I would have no issues with it. Am I still cold on Gyökeres for 60 million? I am less cold on Gyökeres than I was. I am less cold. I think he's pretty good. I think the fact that he's 27 by the time he gets here makes me antsy because you're getting one contract out of him. So it's like you're paying 65 million and you're going to pay him huge wages and you're getting one contract. So I think he's good, but I look at the fee and I'm like I'm not paying that, I don't think. What's next for Nico? I want to believe. Well, I think the reality is that Nico is a very good player, but he is both too temperamental, too injury prone, and too up and down to be the guy every game for a whole season. Like he is not Haaland. He's not Benzema. He is not Harry Kane. And like that's okay. Like he's about to turn 24. He had another, in my opinion, quite good season. Like I think Jackson's a very good player. I think you look at next season and you say you have 38 Premier League games, you have 8 Champions League games, and you have a couple cups. I think you need someone at least as good as him so that you can always play one of them and if you need to make the sub to go one for the other or make the sub to go both. So to me, like my reticence last summer to buying a big striker, and like I was not the only like the sporting director said we don't want to buy a big striker. I didn't feel that dissimilarly, but I did feel you needed to get someone who can play more than Giyu. And I think now that was very clear to be true, but I think going into the Champions League you need 2 like legit options to do that. And like we'll see. Somebody brought up Mateta earlier. Like I like Mateta. I wouldn't pay a big fee for him, but I like him. So like depending what the contract situation looks like, that's a deal I would probably do. Ekatike like is 80 million is the number. Like I don't love that fee. I think he's really good. He's like a minus finisher though, and people will definitely hate him because of that. But I think he's like a very largely productive guy. Retegui comes up because he scored a bunch of goals this season, but I don't like buying players from Atalanta because they play a very unique style, and recruiting from their team generally results in like declines in performance. Gonzalo Ramos is somebody that I would look at because his wages aren't crazy. PSG would probably be interested in getting off of him. I also think he's like the right profile of player in that like he's mostly a scorer. That I think is pretty interesting. I think there's a long list. Like even Jonathan David, I wouldn't be mad at. I don't think that deal's happening, but like there's players there. If I could hijack David's move to if I could hijack David's move to one of the Italian teams, would I? I think he's going to get so much money that I wouldn't do it. Yeah, I don't think I probably wouldn't do it at the wages he's going to get, but I think David is very good. Kolumuani is somewhat interesting to me. It would depend what the fee is and what the wages are, because I think he makes a lot of money at PSG. So it's just you got to be very careful. You got to be very careful. I think this is a deal you have to nail. Like Delap is an interesting one. I don't love him as a player though. You know what I mean? Thank you, God, for accepting our offering of Unk's ACL for a UCL spot. Yeah, this is my boss is a huge Rangers fan, and so every day he comes up to my he'll come up to my desk and we'll chat about the weekend's games or whatever. And the weekend that I did this, Chelsea won, and he was like, "Oh, how's it?" He's like, "At least Chelsea won." And I was like, "This is the sacrifice I've made for my team. I've given away my ACL for us to make Champions League." David's Greek Canadian agent rubbing his greasy Euro hands together when he gets that bag from Napoli as a free agent. Nick is a nice guy. I won't talk shit about Nick. Mavromaros. He's a good agent too. He's got a lot of the Canadian players. João Pedro is an interesting player. João Pedro, I think, is a really funky deal because I actually quite like it. I don't love it at the number, but I've talked about this a few times, but I think there's two schools, right? On one hand, oh, Dimitri's listening. Hi, Dimitri. I hope you enjoy your drive home from Nottingham. I think there's two schools of thought, right? If you have a tweener, right? João Pedro to me is a very similar player to Kai Havertz. He's not quite a 9, he's not quite a 10, he's not quite a winger. He does a bunch of those things. But he's not any of them solely. You know what I mean? And the two schools of thoughts are, one, because he doesn't have a defined role, it makes his fit awkward right away, because where is he going to play? Because if you're bringing him in to only do winger stuff, that's probably not great. Or you're bringing him in only as a 9, that's probably not great. I personally think the versatility of having players who do lots of things is more valuable than the easier understanding of their fit. It makes them easier to play. I think Chelsea, for the many flaws of João Felix and Christopher Nkunku, Chelsea's season got worse when Felix left and Nkunku got decided he didn't want to play soccer anymore. When those two things happened, Chelsea had very few flexible attacking options to chase games, where you come on as a winger, but you're not doing winger things. You can just go do whatever you want. But I think João Pedro is pretty valuable. I probably wouldn't do the deal if you can't get off of Felix and Nkunku though. If you can, I would probably do it. Not at 50 million, but I'd be pretty interested. 9, 10 winger, you just play him a bunch. He's not a starter, but you play him all the time. That's probably what I would look at for that one. ZZZ asks about Promise David, who's another Canadian. So Promise David, for those of you who don't know, has legitimately the strangest route to being a quite good striker. He so it's not even on here. I'll have to look at his transfer market, because most of these teams don't have FB ref pages. So Promise David is from Brampton, which is a suburb outside of Toronto. And he was not he was in TFC's academy at the same time as other guys who were a lot better than him. Left to go to a very, very tiny Croatian team. Went from the Croatian team to Tulsa briefly, half a season, and then went to Malta, and then from Malta to Estonia, and then from Estonia to Belgium. So I don't like Promise David for Chelsea. I think he's good, but I don't think he's that good. I think he's super raw. I think he has a lot of penalties in his goal total, which are inflating things. To me, I'm yeah, he's a useful bench striker for Canada. But I think if Strasbourg wanted to buy him to replace Omega, I'd be pretty cool with that. Any underrated strikers no one speaks of. The game is too global now. Everybody knows everybody. There's nobody that nobody speaks of, unless you're going like really down the leagues. How big a risk is buying another forward who doesn't run? You have whoever you buy has to press. This is my number one criteria for attackers this summer is they all have to defend. They have to press, and if they don't, like, get rid. I don't want to buy them. With the exception of Shawarma Boss. That's how you feel about Cherokee. I think Cherokee is like so productive that like I would bring him and be like, hey, you're gonna play against bad teams, and you're gonna play off the bench in games we need you to because we're losing or we're tied and we need to win. And that would be his role. And I would play you 1,800 minutes a season doing only that. Ted Knutson reckons our biggest issue is in build-up and we have solutions for it at Strasbourg. Ted is a very, very bright guy. I cannot express the degree to which I do not agree with that as a statement. Like, Chelsea have been, like, look. Okay, so if I look at field tilt, which is your ability to get into the final third and keep it there, Chelsea are fourth, right next to Liverpool and Arsenal. Could they do with more field tilt? Sure, I guess. Their build completion. They have the second highest build completion of any team in the league. What are you talking about? Now, do I think Chelsea turn the ball over in build-up more frequently than they should for a team that gets as much field tilt and as much build completion as they should? Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think that is not like he thinks that's he has said that that's a Sanchez thing, and like maybe to a little bit, but I don't feel very strongly about that. Is what I'll say. Like Arsenal have no losses because they go direct and build quite frequently, but like Chelsea have the second highest build for completion of any team in the league. Like, what are we talking about? Like, and Pano Footy brings up Lavia is important on their turnovers. I think you have Lavia for a whole season. I think that goes down a lot. I firmly don't think the build-up is the problem for this team to get from where they are to the title. I think for this team to get from the title is like your wingers have to do way more. Your wingers have to give you way more than they are right now. Am I all the way back? Like, you look at it, like Chelsea defensively are like a little bit worse than a title team. But like 15 goals from your best player, cool. 10 goals from your striker, from the striker position, not just from your striker, from the striker position. Because like Neto had 1 as a 9. And like there's like 1 in Kunku and like 1 Felix. Like you just need way more goals from everywhere. So I don't know. I think it's more like Sancho gives you nothing and Neto doesn't give you enough. Yeah, that's tough. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. How helpful is it that Strasbourg made Conference League for Chelsea and loanees? Yeah, very good for them. I think they'll have to run a bigger squad than they did this year. But like, I think you can do some fun things. Like I would pretty happily send them both Josh and Tyreek and be like, have fun. Go play 2,500 minutes for them. Very happily. Strasbourg's build-up improved immensely when they went back 3, Bin, Silla, and ran Barco and Doué as wingbacks. Yeah, totally. I mean, they did a lot of fun things in build-up, but we'll see. I think Chelsea will be fine on that front. But I do think you got to do some smart business this summer. That is very much the case. That is very much the case. Hey, so no CR7, no. I would never take that guy. I do. You know what I don't understand? Just because, like, I don't get it. Why did Chelsea buy that center back from Strasbourg? He's not good. Like, you had no incentive to do that deal when you did it. Where is he? What's his name? This guy. Like, this is not a good center back. He doesn't win the ball in the air. He doesn't really win the ball at all. He's not a good passer. Like, what's the point? What are we doing? I don't understand that one. What are my thoughts on Estevao? I think Estevao is the best prospect since. I think Estevao is the best prospect out of Brazil since Neymar. Like, pretty clearly. Like, I think he is. Apparently, we didn't actually sign Mamadou Sarr. Is that real? Thomas, you're gonna need to give me more. You're gonna need to give me more on that. What else did he say? It wasn't actually. If it's not actually done, terrific, good, if that's the case. Estevao, I think, is the best prospect out of Brazil since Neymar. I think the level of shot creation, both for himself and others, is pretty ridiculous. I think his ability to go past people on the dribble is pretty ridiculous. And I think physically he's going to get smashed his first 6 months here. But I think the nice thing for him, I would have loved Conference League for him, but the nice thing for him is that Chelsea have a good right winger in Nani Madueke. He's not going to have to play 2,500 minutes right away. I would expect his first season, he plays 1,000 minutes. Something like that. That would be my guess. He plays 1,000 minutes. Shouldn't we send Estevao to Strasbourg? No, I don't think so, because I don't think Estevao needs to play. I don't think Estevao needs to play 3,000 minutes next year, because you look at it and you say, first off, for him to have played 30 league 90s already at his age is pretty nice, but also across all competitions, he has played basically, and with the Club World Cup this summer, he's basically played nonstop for 18 months. It's actually probably good for him to come in and not have to play right away, and to take his time and adjust and do his thing. Pais, I think, makes more sense to go to Strasbourg. Nani is not good enough for Chelsea. Don't agree. I think he's a perfectly acceptable fourth, whatever. A resident French football expert does not like the French league as a stepping stone for wingers. Meat grinder. I think that's part of why I like it, though. I think that's part of why I like it, is that for Tyreek George, so Tyreek, right? I think Tyreek George is an excellent player. I think he has improved tremendously defensively, which is a huge step for a young player. That's how you keep yourself on the field, is be reliable. To me, the thing with Tyreek that I think he needs a lot of work at is he struggles to create separation from defenders physically. And he struggles to create separation from defenders physically. And so I think going to a league that is very physical for you, I think will be a good step for him. I look at it similarly to Amad Diallo, who scored for United today and I think has looked broadly pretty good this year. He has had a very interesting set of loans after United bought him from Atalanta. But I think he had a very nice year this year for that. And you look at his loans, Ahmad went to Rangers in Scotland and got the shit kicked out of him for a year. And then he went to Sunderland for a year and got the shit kicked out of him. And now he's a solid Premier League player. That I think is a positive trajectory. And I think for Tyreek, he needs to bulk up. Look how strong. I have made the comparison for Saka a lot because they're both kids from London and whatever. But I think you look how jacked he is now, to hold off challenges. You look at Salah, yeah, he needs to get ripped. I'd love to send more players to Scotland. I think the Scottish League is pretty poor. I wouldn't do that specific loan, but I think a French loan would work for him. Yeah, I think that's fine. Thomas Wilkinson, am I excited for the Jordan kit? Yeah, I think next year's kits might be. Well, next year's kits are done, but the kits after that might be pretty interesting. Pano DM'd me a tweet from last month. Let me pull this off so I don't dox myself. Let's see. Fab said he came to Chelsea, but Pierre is most realistic, and if he says it's fake, it's fake. What does he say? Domingue never played him for Sar. It's fake. Yeah, I mean, I would be pretty. I'd be pretty happy if that was the case. Thanks, Pano. I would be pretty happy if that deal was not happening. So that's pretty funny. This is tweet season in the making. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, today was a good day. How are Asugo's minutes next season? Yeah, like Chelsea have like a real conversation to have about my goodness. What are you gonna do with all the midfielders you got? Because you have Enzo Fernandez, you have Moises Caicedo, you have Kieran Dewsbury Hall, you have Romeo Lavia, you have Dario Sugo, you have Andre Santos, you have Leslie Ugochukwu. You cannot, and you have Carney Chukwuemeka. You have 9. Like, you're obviously not keeping on 9. I lean that I would bring all the physical boys in. So I would run my midfield group for the season would be Enzo, Caicedo, Asugo, Lavia, Ugochukwu, Andre Santos. And that would be my mix of 3. I would go to 3-man midfields, and I would play Palmer as a winger. And I would run like the ultra physical midfield all the time. That would be my squad choice, and I wouldn't buy a winger at all. Unless, like, if you move George on loan and you don't bring Sancho and Mudryk is banned, then you probably have to get one. But that's kind of where I'm at. Thoughts on Rodrigo? Rodrigo's really good. I think that is not a real deal that's going to happen. But I think Rodrigo's pretty good. I don't think I would do it. I also definitely wouldn't do the Rafael Leao deal. Yeah, like Rodrigo, I don't know. I'm not super sold on that one. I definitely wouldn't do the Rafael Leao deal. Didn't we get a winger from Sporting? Yeah, we got Giovanni Kenda. He doesn't join until next year, though. So 26-27. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think he's great. He's a very good dribbler. Like, he beats people 1v1 a lot. I watch like an unfortunate amount of Sporting because my best friend is a big Sporting fan. He's a very, very, very talented dribbler, but he is not like a shooty guy. Like, he is like a wing back more than he is a winger kind of deal. He also, like, in that crazy Sporting Benfica game that decided the title, like, he came on and was horrific. We'll see. Like, he's a year away from joining at all. Let's see from there. But, like, people like him. Maresca's Academy rating has to be an A. I don't think so. Like, whatever. I'm gonna do this in a proper podcast eventually, and it's not done. So, but like, we can talk about it. I'll talk about the Academy one because I think it's fine. Maresca gave 8 debuts, but like, it's all because of the Conference League, and I think he like was a little bit better than we all expected. But I think it was easy to do this year because you could play Tyreek and Josh in the Conference League. And I think he was a little bit conservative, especially at the beginning of the season, of getting all those done. That, to me, is why I have it as a B. Because there was like room for improvement. He definitely could have been better. But it's also quite good that he got a lot of debuts in. And like, I'm happy with that. But it's just a B. Like, I don't think, to me, so if I was to give you a comparison, like, I would say Pochettino was an A, and I would say Lampard was an A plus. Like, Pochettino was, he also gave A debuts. He did not have the Conference League to do that. He used them in more tense situations. He did it younger with some of those particular players. Yeah, like I think Pochettino probably did a better job, and I think Lampard did the best job in that comparison. Are we going to Cucurella for another 50, 60 game season with Chilwell ISS as the only natural covers? I mean, this is the open question: is what are you going to do with the left back situation? Is it going to be Vega comes back? Is it going to be Badiashile plays some left back? Is it going to be ISS? Is it going to be Chilwell? Like, I don't know. It's open. I would be totally fine if it was Chilwell. And you can do some different things with that. I would be totally okay with that as a situation. I would be pretty surprised, but I'd be okay with it. If we get Osimhen, are we ready to challenge for the title? It certainly closes the gap. I don't know if it takes us all the way there, but it definitely closes the gap. I would definitely say that. Can Betis surprise Chelsea? Anthony and Isco in great form. I think the biggest difficulty for this game is that Chelsea are going to be on 48 hours less rest. I don't think Betis are great, and they've been finishing just like gangbusters lately. But I think Chelsea should be fine. Like, I think they're probably considerably better than Betis. So that, I think, is an interesting one. Who are some right-footed wingers you like? Yeah, baby, I'll tell you. Number one on my list. Let's go. Alejandro Garnacho. He's out of favor. The fee's going to be cheap. His most similar player, he's just Nani Madueke on the left. I'm about it. I really like Garnacho. And he presses pretty well. Like, the guy works. I would be pretty into Garnacho. I don't like his brother, and I don't like all the furor that surrounds him. I don't love. But I think he's a pretty good player. Like, at 19 and 20, like, before you turn 21, to have, like, what is this? 16. Yeah, 16 legals, 8 assists. It's just right there. I'm an idiot. For him to have, like, 24 in 60 90s at 20 is pretty good. Like, that's a real player. You have to hope that, like, he matures a little bit, but, like, if you can get a good deal, I'd be in on that. He's not terrible at defending. I don't agree with that at all. He's a very good presser. I think he's very active. Malik Fofana. No. This guy's worse. This guy's way worse than Garnacho. Way worse than Garnacho. Francisco Conceição is interesting. I thought he was, like, pretty good at Juve at what he does. I don't know if I would get him, but I think he's, like, similar. I think the one that, like, in hindsight we should have done is Anthony Gordon. Like, that's one that I hated the deal at the time, but I think is, like, if we'd done it, actually would have been a really good deal. I would this is gonna sound whack. I would so happily fire the sporting directors and hire Frank Lampard and Petr Cech as sporting directors and give them the crazy analytics staff behind them. Because those two guys, they're just, like, inherent. I'm not a big believer in, like, some people just know ball so well. But, like, maybe Lampard just has exceptional PR and Cech just has exceptional PR. But, like, those two guys seem to have just, like, a pretty good radar for players. The goal you scored against United was Garnacho's fault. He allowed James to roulette in the box. I don't know. Yeah, that we'll see. Ekitike links seem to be heating up. I imagine we're going to get a lot of briefs this week. I imagine we're going to get a lot of briefs. But we'll see. All right. Get your last. Not that I'm not having a blast, but let's get the last couple questions in because my knee is sore and I want to go ice it. And I want to revel. I also want to open up Twitter and just go talk shit to everybody. I'm gonna go and listen to all my old podcasts and make a super cut of me saying 67 to 70 points over and over and over again. Those are gonna come forth and just like put the montage out. So get your last question. Bring Neil Bath back. Bring Neil Bath back. Give him the keys. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen, but sure. Also, like we say that the kids that he put forward as his like Project 2030 or whatever, not like Carney and Cassidy were his deals, and like those guys were not good. They're gonna make out even money at least on both of them, but they were not that good. Do I think any more deals get done before Club World Cup? I expect Chelsea will sign a striker before the Club World Cup. I think they will. I think that deal will be done before June 10th. I would expect as much. Um, Thoughts on Morgan Rogers links? Don't like him. Not a player for me. I think like he is similar to I think he is similar to João Pedro in like tweenerness. Like he's a 10, he's a winger, he does a bunch of stuff. I think he's good. I think the difference between him and Pedro is I think this fee will be like humongous. So that's my thing. Also quite nice we got fourth and not fifth. Yeah, totally agree. Summer priorities. Priority number 1, a striker that is as good as Jackson. As good. That is number 1. And then the rest of it really depends on outgoings. Like if you move Tosin and Disasi, you probably need a center back. If you don't, you can just keep one of those guys. If you move Chilwell, you need to get a left back. So left back is probably number 2. And then, which is so funny that at one point we had Chilwell, Hall, and Maatsen, and now we have probably none of them. And then like right-footed left winger if Sancho is gone and Mudryk is banned and you decide to do something different with George. Those are kind of the 3 I look at, and I'm like, I would do everything other than that is shuffling deck chairs. Like I would do some stuff with the goalkeepers, like moving people around, but I wouldn't add a goalkeeper. Like the Bulka deal, the thing with Bulka, there's like a rumor Marcin Bulka to Aston Villa for 8 million. They're gonna sell Emi Martinez for a huge fee. That is like amazing squad management on their behalf. If they can get a big fee for Emi Martinez and they can get Bulka for under 10 million, crazy. So like, would I do Bulka for 8 million? Yes, but would I, if I can get off of Jorgensen as well, like maybe, like there's a lot of things to do in there, but it's not a priority to me. Will there be a stream after Betis? No, probably not. I might do one on the weekend and do like the summer mega transfer thing, something like that if I feel like it. But honestly, probably not. My surgery is June 2nd, so I will actually have like quite a bit of like life organizing to do that weekend, but maybe. Do I work for a club as a stats analytics guy? No. I've done some consulting work for players and clubs, but I have a non-soccer day job. This is like my fun thing. But I do work for ASA, which is like the big American website for MLS. Is Osimhen still a possible deal? I'd be surprised if it happens, but it would be the striker deal that I like the most. Don't we need a box 9 as an alternative? Wouldn't João Pedro Ekitike be too similar to Jackson? I don't hate being too similar to Jackson. I don't hate having Jackson all the time, right? Like I don't hate that. But I would probably prefer a different profile. How well do I think Mourinho does if he had the squad? Current Mourinho, significantly worse than Enzo Maresca did. Peak Mourinho, better than Enzo Maresca did. Would I do Osimhen? Yes. Saw my tweet earlier this week about Sterling. Yeah, what I said about Sterling was, I want to go find exactly what I said. Oh, I thought it was going to be deleted. I was like, that's funny. Where did I put this? People going to hate this by Keep Sterling. He's not moving off the deal. You could probably get utility of him as a dribbler, back post, whatever. I thought Raheem Sterling had like a totally fine preseason this year. Like I was actually very surprised that Chelsea were like not eager, but that at the end of the window they were like, yeah, we'll take half of his wages and then bring in Sancho for the same amount of money. Like it seemed very odd to me. So like if you can't move him, like you could do a lot worse than keeping him here as a left winger and saying like you're going to do the Sancho thing of like get the ball on the left wing, dribble at the fullback, look to combine, look to get into the box, and arrive at the back post. Like I think he would be better at that than Sancho and Neto are. I think Neto's probably a better passer, but I think he would arrive at the back post and would score a bunch of shit goals, and I think that would be valuable for this team. So, yeah, like, I mean, if you can move him on, I would move him on. Like, his contract is a humongous negative. 2 years in a row, they've tried to move him and he can't move. There is zero interest. He makes way too much money and he doesn't want to live outside of London. That's like, somebody told me, an agent told me, that when he was joining Chelsea from City, that the only two teams he wanted to play for were Chelsea and Arsenal because he wanted to live in London and his explicit goals for the deal were to get paid as much as he could. Was to live in London and get paid as much as he could. And like, respect, good for him. He got the deal he wanted. But like, I don't know if that's a deal I would have done. And at the time I said the same thing. I thought it would be better for 1 year and then it was really bad. But I thought it would be better to start. So we'll see. We'll see. Thank you for the well wishes on the knee. All right, I'm just gonna wrap it up. We did it. We made Champions League. Lots of fun. We're gonna have lots of fun midweeks next year. It's like a little nice positive step forward. And as always, it's very fun to get to gloat. On people. Score prediction on Wednesday. Chelsea win 2-0. Yeah, 2-0. They play like I'll give you a prediction. I'll give you a team prediction. I gotta go back to Chelsea. It'll be Jorgensen and net. It'll be Gusto right back. He won't go James twice. And then it'll be Chalobah, Badiashile, Cucurella. And then he'll go Caicedo, Enzo. And then he'll go George, Palmer, Madueke, Jackson will be the team. That's my guess. Josh doesn't. Maybe he goes Josh right back instead of Gusto. I don't know. That's my guess of the team, though. James won't start. Lavi obviously can't start. Yeah, that's my guess. And we win 2-0. Semenyo to Chelsea. No, thank you. Alrighty, we're going to wrap it up there. As always, there will be a pod. I'll probably record it tomorrow to come out Tuesday. Actually, I'll probably record it today. But fun season. Thank you all for coming on the streams. We had a lot of fun this year. I will almost certainly be doing this again next year. And then the Club World Cup. We'll do it through the Club World Cup, of course. So thanks as always. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're in America, it's a holiday weekend. And enjoy.